Hello everybody, Hellcrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere episode, 353. And today we're going to be talking about the Indra Infantry Transport from the clans. Interesting vehicle. Just on a side note, if you hear my voice starting to go out, that's because, a couple weeks ago I had my surgery, and it seems to fade in and out on me. So if you start hearing that, yeah, I'm sorry. We have to deal with it. All right, the Indra Infantry Transport. Well, it's 35 tons. It looks like a big battle bus. That's all I can say. If you ever went to basic training in the, like the Army or the Marines back in the 80s, they had these things like transport buses that would pick you up and take you to wherever you got to go. And this kind of reminds me of it. And it's a little bit of humor, maybe. I don't know. All right, so the Indra is 35 tons. It's a 5.8 moving vehicle. It has 15 heat sinks. It's going above and beyond what's necessary with the fusion reactor. It does have 5 tons of ferrofibrous armor on board for 96 points of coverage, which is pretty good for your basic vehicle of this nature. It's enough to keep the guys alive inside while they deliver wherever they have to be. Typically, it's more of a cargo transport per se, so it may be carrying tech support. Like infantry techs, that go out in the field, and mechanics, etc., that do the work for the clans, the cast, and then get back on and go back to the rear. So yeah. That's kind of how I look at this thing per se. All right, now, weapons. It has an ERPPC on the front slope. As you can see, that's a big giant round thing that you're looking at. On the front, it looks like a big giant hole on board. It has 4 machine guns and a little turret array in the back. It looks like little Vulcan cannons sticking out the rear. On a little turret that goes around and hoses anything down. So it's good for cleaning out infantry. Then it has 3 tons of cargo space. And that cargo space can be used for 3 tons of infantry or tech support gear or ammunition, etc. And obviously it looks like, from some of the pictures I've seen, the tops open up and this little crane comes out, grabs it and puts it off to the side and says, there you go. And we're returning back to where we need to be after we take care of this little bit of part you need. All right, so it's like, if you ever seen roadside service, like a big tractor trailer that's been broke down, also another tractor trailer shows up and has it basically, my buddy used to do that. They'd show up on the side of the road and fix the vehicle, roadside service, and then take back off, type of thing. Because you're broke down, you don't want to be towed someplace. They just show up and do it. So that's kind of like how I envision this vehicle working. Now, on the battlefield, if you are trying to do it, let's say you're doing a convoy scenario where you're trying to get a bunch of techs from one area to another without getting captured and blown up, or by the other clan or something of that nature. Some of these might be handy, for that scenario, to get them from point A to point B. That's kind of like how I look at it. Kind of useful, that look at the job done, without too much, let's say, problems. It does have some teeth, in the front area. If you're driving on the board and someone gets in front of you, you get that ERPPC, you hit them with that. It's like, yeah, they're going to know that you're there. And they're not going to like you too much. Because 15 points from a ERPPC, that's not much to sneeze about. He's like, yeah, oh boy, you just tore off a bunch of armor. And if it's like Raider type light mechs, 15 points will blow holes in most of them. And they're going to be thinking twice about maybe getting closer. And if they do get close, obviously with the 3, you get the machine gun arrays there. So, that can do some damage too. So, and you're most likely not going to be running in just one of these. You might be running a convoy of, let's say, of 3, 5 of them running together for transporting goods and techs to take care of the job. So I don't even think the techs would take up any space, because the way this thing looks, it's easily 5 techs, 6, 10 techs could fit in this thing comfortably with some seating, and then still have 3 tons of cargo space available. That's kind of how I look at this when I even look at it on the pictures. Now, there is a couple. No, I guess there isn't a couple. There's just one more version of this one, which is kind of nice. This one is the Indra Infantry Transport. Once again, the same thing, but this one has battle armor capability. The first one I forgot to mention is 689 battle value. A bit spendy, mostly because of that ERPPC. And that's going to suck up some battle value. Now, the Indra's battle armor version comes in at 778, a little more pricey, but it carries a bit of weapons on board. Yeah, it can carry 5 tons worth of battle armor, because you have a bay that has that on board. It has a front-mounted plasma cannon with 20 rounds. Okay, so a little lighter than the ERPPC, and then you're able to, not have to worry about all those heat sinks. And then it has AP Gauss rifles instead of the standard Vulcan-style machine guns. So now you get some range with those to do some damage to any type of infantry that may show up. And you got 80 rounds, so basically 20 shots per. Yeah. That's more than enough for in-game terms. And then we have, it has a single B-pod for taking care of blasting, just like claymores. And then it has a light active probe for searching out and finding stuff if necessary. So it does have some teeth to it compared to the original version. Yeah, a little more expensive, yes. But you can have some battle armor running around, being transported at 5.8 versus their 1.3. So you can get them to a point on the table pretty quickly, open up the bay, and they rocket out onto the position that they need to be. And you are doing some damage on the way in. And then you're going to be turning around and working your way back. You deliver them and then go. That doesn't necessarily say that you can't be taking transport capabilities with this, just like the primary version, but there is a slight difference between, like, I guess they would say, battle armor transportation versus cargo space. Even though cargo space, you can put infantry into the cargo space, they just won't ride comfortably. Be like putting them into a cattle car or something of that nature. They're going to be banged around a bit. So that's kind of like the difference between them. But, you can get there pretty quickly and deliver them, and then maybe hang around doing some snapshots for a while. Now, I did some looking at doing a slight change to the Indras for my own personal use. I took the ERPPC and downsized it into a turret, so you can have 360 capability with an ER large laser. Yes, it's 2 tons lighter. Okay, that's a good thing. And it also uses 3 less heat sinks. So that basically adds up to 5 tons that you're saving with that, which allows you to put on some different weapon systems if necessary. So, you got your options here. If you wanted to go with, I like the idea of the AP Gauss rifles. having some of those on board, allowing you to get some range to shoot out targets. And you could also think about maybe putting a SRM-2 with a ton of ammunition and maybe going with Infernals with that. So you could toss in a little bit of fire downrange, cooking some targets if necessary. You know, really hosing out infantry targets or setting some woods on fire as cover smoke, etc. So there is that. It's like I look at it and go, yeah, I can see the potential of doing that. So there's a third option when it comes to the Indris is make it slightly a little better and its capability of just shooting off at different ranges. Not to say that you can't park the Indris on a hillside and let's say run it into some woods, heavy woods or something, park it there, and then just shoot away with that ERPPC, shooting targets, and being ignored most likely because you're going to have some bigger targets in front of you that will attract your enemy's attention than the guy way in the back just doing nothing but plinking away. Or is he? Type of thing. So they may have to split some units off to try to take care of it. And it's like if you're splitting units off to take care of another unit, you're downgrading the amount of firepower that is going downrange at your primary targets, or which are you, and going after something that could be easily just disengage and move out of the area. So leave the AO. So yeah, it's like I can see there are some major benefits with working with this vehicle one way or the other. So there's that. That's the Indra Infantry Transport. So give it a look. See if you're a clanner and how you might want to use this thing. I look at it as an interesting kind of a transport capability, and really, in some ways, a scenario-driven vehicle. It's like, but there's nothing wrong with playing pickup games and stuff, but playing a scenario or a campaign where you get to have certain things like this makes the game more interesting. All right, that's it. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcrags out.